find yourself getting passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on. So you're off in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. Doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Ferrari, not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Haig deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the loud pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And it definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Ferrari now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed Morton forward up ahead. He's got out of line. Is now Pike going to have a go at Werrell? Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still start dropping. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Moving on to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's a lot of fun. Yeah. It's all about the entertainment, so I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching. The Burger King machine's off into the grass a little bit there. Is that really bunching up now?
Coming down. Does he have it? He's going to get it.
He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still start chopper. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry!
All right, g'day everybody, and welcome along to Mount Panorama, and welcome along to some motor racing in the land of Down Under. Just a few hours drive from Sydney, Australia. You're going to be here for the Evolution Sim Racing Round 6 from the mountain. Get your Vegemite sandwiches all packed up and throw a couple of these beautiful Ferraris around the barbecue. I am Dean Biggles, and I'll go back to my regular voice. Too much Australian in me, mate. I had to bring it out. Welcome along. And of course, Stephen, how are you doing this evening? Looking forward to this track?
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely fantastic. We all know how difficult Bathurst can be, and especially over and up and down that mountain, it's going to be a brilliant one. We've got no damage here in Evolution Sim Racing, which is going to make it a little bit easier, but that also means that people are going to take more risks with the walls as well, knowing that a tiny little bit of a scrape isn't going to do much, but a big scrape is definitely going to cause problems. But yeah, looking forward to this one. Championships starting to heat up as well, and we're getting into the business end. There's only 3 races left, including this one, and I'm looking very much forward to the carnage that's going to happen here.
Well, speaking of which, I think we pull up what's happening in the carnage of the championship standings. And right now, that's the pro for you, my friend.
Yeah, we've got Aramas Zielinska still in the charge of the lead on 375 points, with Mark Thomas still in P2, keeping hold of his position there. Paul Cowlishaw, is still in P3, but Carl Handwerk still there in P4 for CRN. As Rhys Saunders has jumped his teammate in year 1 after a double last week time out in Donington, and it's Joseph Sparrow who's the big gainer as well. He's jumped up to P8, just behind Alex Fretwell there in P7. A newcomer to the league, started halfway through and already on a charge up that championship. Mark Jardine for MRC is in P9, followed by Gary Mitchell in P10, Scott Kostrich in P11 for Racing Rascals, followed by Philip McConaughey in P12. JB Jenkins in P13. He'll be disappointed with this season so far, Mr. Jenkins. He's shown flashes of pace throughout this season, but not been able to get it together on a consistent basis. We've got Richard Flouty on P14 and Mark Proctor in P15, followed by Shane Cotton down in P16 and Thor Tuller in P17. Missed a few races, has Thor, I believe. And then we've got Covert just beneath that off your screen, down there on 16 points. But moving on to the ARM category, it's Thiago Reiser in the lead still. Retains his lead by 77 points as well over Matthew Jones, because they finished in that same order as last week. And Joe Glass is still in P3. It's pretty much as you were in the ARM Championship. Bostock is still in P4, followed by Wesley Van Rens. James Mukian in P6. He's had a decent go of it in the last few weeks. Dries up the order, followed by Hussein Sarakar Desler in the GP2 racing team for P7, and Stefan Parkinson in P8. Still struggling to get those great results. He keeps having too many spins. Modestas Krasauskas in P9 though, and then followed by Stephen Donnelly in P10, Robin Truswell in P11, and Robin Aston in P12. Gareth Newton rounds out P13, and then it's Chris H. Keenan for MRC in P14, followed by the M&M Racing Martin Lee in P15, Graham Matthew in P16, Sean Clark in P17, and that is Craig Charles just off screen for the Alpha Racing team. But yeah, ARM Championship is still pretty much as it was last week. Not much change there, but it's very, very tight in the pro. You've got to say, Thiago Reiser looks to have sewn up the ARM category. It'll be very difficult for anybody to take that spot off of him. But that pro category, it's really starting to spice up. With only 3 races left as well, Rhys Saunders has got it all to do in order to catch the front runners. And Aramas, he's got to be happy with where he's sitting at the moment, going into the business end of the season.
And Rhys is about to cross the line, and it should be top of the timesheets right there. The first man to conquer the mountain, the quickest time, 2:03. So there it is. So Rhys is setting a statement early, as you said, bringing it to his championship hopes. And definitely some championship hopes for the drivers. This is one that drivers, we heard in the interviews last week. If you have tuned in, and welcome everybody in the chat. I know it's a little quiet at the moment, but don't you worry, we'll keep you as entertained as possible. Stephen Parkinson goes into P3. But drivers with fear in the mountain, aren't they? They're basically saying it's just a matter of seeing who can survive your way through, especially you go up to the chase, the depot, all this section at the moment. You're going to be seeing Mr. Reese. We're looking at the pictures of navigating the minefield, isn't it, really, of the mountain at that point, because you have a spin around this section, my friend, and you're T-boning somebody or there's lots of trouble. So it's going to be just a matter of how well the drivers pace themselves. And I tell you what, Stephen, the best way to do it, my friend, is get your car out in front and stay in front and not have to deal with the dilemma behind you.
Yeah, that's definitely makes things easier for yourself, but especially down here, the dipper, as Resources goes through that at speed there. If you spin around there, especially the dipper, because it's just a tight left-hander and it's very easy to lose the back end, you lose all the grip off the rear wheels. If you spin there, there's nowhere to go. There's no ghosting in iRacing, unlike F1 either, so if there's a bit of a pile-up there, it can bring the race to an absolute halt as well, and that just allows the people in front who've not been caught up in that a free rein to just disappear. I was just watching before this as well. I don't know if you've seen this before. I'm guessing you have there, Biggles. But in 2011, I just watched Jenson Button do a lap around here in the MP423 F1 car, and my word, that looked scary, especially over the mountain.
Well, this is going to look scary. This fastest lap from race at purple sector 2, 3, 4, and 5, and make that 6. Increasing that time for sure. That's going to be a 202.6 on the Reese Saunders dial. There it is. That's a hot lap. We'll continue with a hot lap with Reese, actually, because it looks like he's definitely conquering the mountain right now. Speaking of the F1s, my friend, looking forward to the Bathurst session this year later on, because they're going to bring F1s, F2s, and F3s to the track as a little bit of a celebration, a little bit of a sports one-time thing. So, yes, I expect that Jenson Button around the mountain. It's going to be fun. Not quite sure specifically who it is, but there were talks of a couple of F1 cars, definitely some F2s and F3s. Not an official race, of course. These F1 drivers can't handle the mountain in an F1 car, nor would be safe enough. However,
can you imagine a race around here in F1
but you're going to see more modern F1 cars. I mean, last year's or the years before, and look at this, he's held up by traffic, and that's one thing that's going to be a burden to you in the mountain, because he's got nowhere to go here at the moment. He had to completely back off in his hot lap. Anyway, whoa! And there is a contact into the wall, and that's exactly what happens. As just a passenger was Reese was. And, yep, bingo. Of course, that will be the quick, fast repairs. No repairs, actually, at all. So, gets to survive to see another day. Just a click to another car. Bingo. And that was out of Hell's Corner, I believe it was. Yes, it is, which is the reason why I give it Hell's Corner, my friend. For that very reason.
I was just reading beforehand that it was to do with a tree stump that used to be on the inside of that corner. And it used to be that if you were, I think it was particularly bike racing, I was reading about that if you hit that tree stump, you were going to hell because you're such an idiot to hit the tree stump, basically.
I was going to say, I didn't think it was anything to do with AC/DC Highway to Hell, because AC/DC, of course, was from Australia. But AC/DC Highway to Hell song comes from when they used to drive in Western Australia, I think it was, in Perth. And you all know rural Australian roads are long, especially out there in the west. And they used to drive for a long time to go from the club that they'd perform in back home and so forth. That was the Highway to Hell. But
lovely
yeah,
little
the
link
tree stump
between us
was
two there.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Because the AC/DC Australian band, but the lead singer after Angus died, he's a Geordie.
Yeah, he's Scott. They're Scots essentially, mate. They migrated the family, most of them, but not Angus Young. Yeah, he was. See, you want a bit of Australian history, my friends. You're going to get it now. Also here, the Conrod Straight, believe it or not, the Nissan Skyline R32, which I owned in Australia back in the day, had to set the fastest record down Conrod Straight right now. You can see where I'm boarded with James Bostic, and he's doing 154. But what they've added, of course, is this little kink in the section, so slow the drivers down a little bit. But that Nissan Skyline, twin turbo, four-wheel drive, mate, used to crank it down here, and they dominated a few years in the Australian Supercar Series before they switched it over to V8s, and then of course the Nissan Skyline as a V6 could not compete anymore.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful car though. I remember that back in the old GT2 days, Gran Turismo, for anybody who doesn't know. But yeah,
the
talking
Godzilla,
about lap
mate.
records.
That's what it's called, right? The Godzilla.
Yeah, it was a beast, to be honest. Absolutely brilliant in Gran Turismo, especially if you
full-wheel
overtuned
steering
it.
too, mate. That's one thing I noticed when you go as that road car. had a button clutch and all that sort of stuff. It felt heavier than the actual brake. But it's four-wheel steering, and that itself is a whole different ballgame when you're climbing up hills like this in the mountain and stuff like that, because the rear wheels actually spin at a few degrees angle. You don't have any control over it, of course, as a driver. It's just it's there. But yeah, that's just a whole different ballgame. Looking currently at the moment of Diego Rosa, or the Gorilla
He's just
Racing.
bashed a wall there. That's not ideal, but thankfully no damage in this series. We've only got 14x for a drive-through here and 20x for a DSQ as well. It's usually a 0x if you make contact with a wall, but if it does spin, if you make hard contact with a wall, it can sometimes be a 2x. Or if you make contact with a wall and then punch somebody else and they go spinning off, that can be a 4x pretty easily as well. But
well, can I cut you on that one real quick? A very popular Australian beer is called 4X.
Oh.
It's available usually up in Queensland.
Yeah,
You'll see it actually as a sponsor for the tracks up north in Queensland. But yeah, I used to work right next to in an office right next to the factory in Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. It was called 4X. So don't get any of those 4X beers, my friends, out there, as you just said.
Yeah, I've had a can or two of that myself. A couple of titties of 4X. Yeah, it's sold here. It was at times. I mean, there's a few.
I thought VB was sold. More of the. Look at that traffic jam as they make their way on the Hell's Corner, turn 1. As we're looking currently at Donnelly, Stefan Donnelly, and yeah, still Reece Saunders has got the quickest time, my friend, by about 8/10.
Yeah,
still no drivers yet to set times, my friend. That's going to be something that's going to be worrying the drivers around the mountain.
I wonder how many people are just thinking, I don't want to start in the middle of the pack. I want to be at the back, wait for the carnage ahead. But yeah, it'll be an interesting race for sure. And,
come to talk about that, my friend. Oh, bingo! And that's out of the, just climbing up towards the hill there as you go down the main straightaway out of Hell's Corner. And that's a common occurrence. But going back to that one, yes, in endurance races, I actually commentate sometimes. And we've even had this here on the JP Broadcasting Network before in the past. That the team that I was with, they qualified about 17th or 18th for the endurance, about Bathurst endurance race. And they elected to start in the pit road. And I was like, didn't know that at the time. But actually, that was a very wise decision because so much of the accidents occur on lap 1 that they managed to skip a whole bunch of places. That's endurance, mate. So we don't have that much time. And these time for the racing that we have for the sprint races and so forth, the evolution. But it's not a bad idea. So I wouldn't say plump last in this point. Makes you could gain a lot of positions.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's a few times I've raced here in a variety of different cars. I've always started from the pit lane because of the carnage. Getting over and down that mountain on lap 1 is nearly impossible in online racing because you're almost guaranteed to have a pile-up somewhere, especially here, the dipper. It's very easy to put the car sideways there, and then once it's sideways, it pretty much blocks the entire track. Nowhere to go. Gotta wait for everybody to crash out. And the fact that there's no damage here in this series means it's going to be maybe a little bit easier, but you still have to pretty much stop on track if there is a pile up there and wait for the mist to clear. But yeah, this is going to be...
Hey, it can get foggy up in the mountain too, my friend. Not at the moment with our current conditions. Another victim there of Hell's Corner, as you can just see in the background. But that's Diego Rosa again, not enjoying with that one. But yeah, it's the mountain is obviously up here in Australia, and it can get very, very foggy, hazy, and has before actually the real life endurance races that they have, the GT3s here in Bathurst. Yeah, it's a very, very and on top of it, what I do love about the circuit, my friends, very, very similar to the fun that you have in Silverstone. It's a camping location, so everybody travels from Sydney and other parts of Australia, set up camp. And enjoy the whole race weekends that you have, because you actually notice there's not a great deal of grandstands around there. Just sit around the track anywhere you want, pull up a couple of tinnies, get the fold-out chair there, esky cooler, and park your tent or your camper van, and Bob's your uncle, mate, for the whole weekend.
And Fanny's your aunt. But yeah, I mean, there's a few people here at this track who don't have to travel anywhere because there are actually houses on this circuit. People's driveways come off this circuit.
Come to think of it, I cast with a gentleman that lives just around one of those houses. He showed me before which house it is. In iRacing, he's even scanned it. And I'm not
That's
kidding
crazy.
you. He lives there.
Imagine-
He's a caster.
I can see
He's
my house from
driving.
here on iRacing.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
He's
though.
Garrett.
But,
Essentially, his entrance to his house is blocked off when there's race weekend. He has to take an alternative path to get to the back of his house. It's
but what do you do?
insane.
You just put your car somewhere else's house so you can
there's
get around?
he has a
or-
backyard because there's a lot of farming and stuff like that. So you're not, you're not sitting on like scraping up against the wall there. Goes Mark Thomas, but you're, I mean, these aren't like an acre or two kind of places. Not like you're sitting in the middle of central London in a small box. So there's alternative, and then of course, the locals at Bathurst, they make sure that you can get your way through there, ticket on your car and stuff like that. So you live here, mate. So sorry for the noise for the weekend. Forget if you get asleep because it ain't gonna happen.
And I imagine it's the same at Monaco as well, because it pretty much runs through the centre of the city, and not a lot could get you. I mean, how do you get?
Not at night for a 24-hour race. That's a big difference, remember?
Well, yeah, that would be a tough one. Just locked out your house for a whole day. But imagine in Monaco. How do you go get a pint of milk from the local shop in Monaco while there's a race weekend on? I don't know.
You don't, mate. No, and by the way, that everybody that could afford to live in Monaco doesn't need to actually go down and buy a pint of milk.
They've got staff for that kind of thing.
They have somebody to buy it for them, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, Bathurst is very, very unique in this respect. I mean, there's 174 metres vertical difference between the lowest and highest points, which is, I think, higher than any other track.
I was about to ask you that. Yeah, exactly. Which is like the commonly used tracks that we have here in iRacing, of course, for race leagues, not just every track around the world. That would be Spa, but it's still a higher elevation change than Spa, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the only thing that you can compete with it would be the Peaks Hill climb or something like that, something crazy. But they're obviously not. They're just a rally, I suppose, more than a circuit, because it's just A to B. But imagine. I mean, one thing that does do for the drivers as well is track like this. The way the track falls off and rises gives you sometimes lots of grip, sometimes none at all. Especially that little dipper and down Skyline and in the S's. You lose so much grip as you drop down the hill, and it can become very, very tough on the brake. You can't 100% brake. You can't use all of your brakes. You've got to be very, very gentle on them. Otherwise, you're going to lock the front wheels. The back just overtakes you, and that's job done. But
I just got what you said. I didn't realize that because I'm an old schooler, man. I used to call it Conrod Straight, but I realized why it's called Skyline Straight now. It just clicked. It's because the Nissan Skyline set the record.
Skyline is the first part of the downhill section.
That's. Oh yeah. Oh, sorry, I'm all over the place on that one. Yeah, I thought. Anyway, as it goes into pit road.
This
pit
is your
road
home
time
track.
around here should. I know. I know, but I'm more up north, up Queensland, mate. So you got to go to some of those tracks up there. I don't think they have them all in Sandown and all that sort of stuff. All right. Talk to Lee Diffie, mate. Look, talk to Lee, all right? You go out there, message Lee Diffie and say, okay, Dean Biggles has made a mistake about some tracks in Australia, and see Lee Diffie, of course, the NBC caster for IndyCar. He knows me. He'll be like, all right, I'm gonna have a word to Mr. Dean about this.
You'll be booking the first flight to Panama to give you a good slap, probably. But
when I go back to Australia, mate, I have to beat him in a round of golf. That's what it's going to be all about now. We'll settle it on the golf field.
Oh, you don't play golf, do you?
No, not really well, but he does. So that's what it's going to be. But yeah, I mean, just hang out and have a beer with the bloke. It's a good job. He's my mentor, commentator, of course. So get some tips from him.
I've never really played golf, but I did take a set of clubs and a couple of golf balls over to a field once and try to whack a few into the underbrush kind of thing. And honestly, it took me about 25 attempts just to hit the ball. It's pretty difficult.
Once you get the technique down, mate, friend, it's not that. You get a couple of driving ranges, bang, bingo. I mean, but then again, it's not golf because we become. And now he's approaching down to the dipper. And he scrapes the wall again, and that's okay to do that, especially in this case, my friend. You can push it to the limits because of the fact that you're not going to have that damage on. So a little bit of wall riding, as you can see, one of the drivers sitting off at the moment waiting. A little bit of wall riding can get you a little bit extra time.
Yeah, maybe, but it's also that risk of maybe bumping you off your line and maybe bumping you into somebody else as well. Obviously, not a lot of chances to overtake over the mountain as well. So if you get stuck behind somebody slower, if you get put out of position, you could be in a spot of trouble. over and under the down the mountain, but we have got the other side of the track, which is from Forest Elbow all the way around to Quarry Bend, where it's a lot easier to overtake. It can be very difficult to get a move done in the chase chicane, though, as you saw.
Yeah.
Zelinskas go through there. He's changed his livery again by the looks of things. I don't know if it's just my trading paint's not loading the last few times, but it looks even greener than before, does it
He's got the racing stripe greens on there as well too, should make him go faster. Hot lap right now. Let's give us a hot lap courtesy of the man who knows everything about Formula One and every motor race. Stephen, go on board.
Yeah, we've already passed Hell's Corner, or Hell Corner, and now we're going down at Mountain Straight, down to Quarry Bend. It's going to be braking just at the 50-metre board, or just before, and you're going to carry a lot more speed than you think you can around this right-hander. You're going to get on the inside as well, because that's where all the grip is, with the camber of the corner helping you around, and then it's into the nightmare territory as you go around Griffin's Mountain and the cutting. You're going to flat out through this one, and then it's braking hard in a straight line before you try and keep tight to the inside here, and then it's just feathering the throttle through this sector here as you go around Griffin's Mount and into Reed Park, and it's just about keeping the car stable and steady. You should be flat out through Sunderland Park here, and you've got to get close to the wall, but he lifts a little bit, just a little bit there as you come around now McPhillamy Park, and again lifts once more, so maybe not as flat out as I expected it to be, and now he's going to be caught behind a slower driver as we come down Skyline and into the S's, and this is Dipper, this is the nasty one, and through the next two corners and into Forest's Elbow. It's a difficult one to get right, this, because you've got to get the car all the way to the right hand side. You've got to get the inside line there. Almost gets taken out by the man ahead, but down all the way Conrod Straight now, flat out all the way through here. Right hand kink coming up, that's flat out as well, but you've got to keep the car to the right hand side for the chase. And that chase corner, very, very difficult to get right. You've got to brake earlier than you believe you have to, because it's downhill, this braking zone, and you've got to get this left-hander perfect in order to open up the right-hander. And he's gone a bit deep there and gets a bit slidey, does Zelinskas, and then the final corner, Murray's corner, again, brake earlier than you think you have to, because it's downhill braking, and then the camber of the corner should help you out a little bit, but it's all about getting on the throttle early, and there we have the finish line. There is a lap of Bathurst, and the nightmare's over.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. Good job on that one, exactly. And you could just see the sensation of speed there. And it's precision, especially up through this part of the track as we're on board with Mark Thomas. It's, as Paul has sliced his way up into P3, it's precision at its absolute finest. That's the beauty of it. With the elevation changes, just imagine like a Rouge, but for like another 5 minutes. Up and down. Yeah. That's what it is. A Rouge is like, great, we got up through a Rouge at full speed, fantastic. But then Bathurst is like, yeah, you go up through a Rouge, and then you go down through a Rouge 2.0, and then you go down through Beckett's Mackinson Chapel 2.0, and so forth, and so forth. And that's what Bathurst is built all around. It's fantastic, my friend. And that's why you either love it or hate it. That's what I find from racing drivers. I'm sure you do as well too, right? Yeah,
I usually don't like tracks like this where they're very fine margins between a fast lap and putting it into a wall at high speed, but when I do these races in official sessions on iRacing with damage and things, it's a case of as long as you can stay safe, you gain a lot. Because of that, lots of people will crash, and we're going to see no different here today. Bostock doing well in P5 at the moment as we follow on board with him. The boss man Bostock as he goes over the mountain as well, and then we've got Parkinson, who's yet again putting it on pole in the arm category, but he struggled to hold on to that pole, and if he can hold on to it this race just for a couple of laps, we're probably going to see the field spread out pretty quick around here, because the difference, because it's such a long track as well, it's always the case with a long track, is the difference in times become more exacerbated. The difference in skill is more exacerbated at a long track.
The key is, my friend, the Forest Elbow I found here in Bathurst. Now, I'll let you know as an Australian, all right? A little secret there. Evening, boys, as Reese Sanders is back in the chat. Reese, once again, thank you very much for the hot lap guide last week. And Reese, you were on top of the timesheets again. I have to say, you want to repeat that one, my friend? Get back out there, give us a hot lap. We'll ride on board with you very soon. 6 minutes left to qualifying, but come back to this one. It's the Forest Elbow, because you get a perfect exit, as there it is. Seven just improves his time at the moment, so he goes to 2:03.7, so that's not a bad time. Setting his statement and laying his gauntlet down to the rest of the AM class to say, I'm here. Going back to the Forest Elbow again for the third time now. It's about the exit. The exit. If you get that nailed perfect, mate, you've got yourself about a 10 plus km/h advantage down the main straightaway, the Conrod Straight. That's a big difference, especially if you're under attack or you're trying to attack somebody for an overtake through the chase.
The main problem with getting that exit right in Forest Elbow is how difficult it is to follow somebody who's slower than you down that mountain. It's very easy to just bump into the back of them. As there's a bump there from Mr. Harper. Looking to try and get his championship back on track a little bit here, but the real story today is going to be, is Reece Saunders going to be able to do the double again this week
Here he is.
as well, but a lot more difficult to do well in the second race. We've got 2 races here for your viewing entertainment this evening. We're going to have a 20-minute sprint, and then we're going to have race 2, which will be a reverse top 15 grid as well. So you get the feeling that Reece Saunders, we've seen this plenty of times before, he's going to run away with it in the first race, the 20-minute, and then he's going to start P15 in the second race, and that's where he's going to struggle, I think, because getting from P15 to P1 at this track is very, very difficult.
Well, yeah, I mean, the second race, of course, is going to be a whole different ball game, but the first one is going to be the key as to who can get what from P1. Remember in the previous race where he did lose that position? Just the starts are crucial. It's got to make sure you get everything all clutch and bite points all launched perfectly, and then take it down into Hell's Corner and see how you can chase your way up to the mountain, of course, and see how that one pans out. The skyline, of course, as you said. Then that's going to be who leads there, because through that top of the hill, mate, as you go up and down the hill, there's really no overtaking through there. You do gamble that one. Both those drivers could be out, causing a massive traffic jam behind them, and that could be very much the sprint race over. So I'm sure they know that, and it's going to be a huge battle on the mountain to make sure you secure the first position, really. Lead up and down the mountain and cross the line first to start another lap. Then it'll become very difficult for some of those overtakes. 3 minutes and change to go. It's about to start a hot lap about now. So once again, courtesy of Reece Saunders, who currently is the fastest man on track. Let's go riding on board with the 191 driver.
Yeah, we've got his arch nemesis Zelinskas in P2 at the moment as well, and we've all seen how quick he can get off that start-finish line as well. So yeah, if he gets a lead going into the mountain, then he's going to keep that lead until the end of the mountain. But the toe on these long straights, Conrad Straight, and here down into Quarry Bend as well, is going to be relatively powerful as well. So this is one of the best places to overtake as well in Quarry Bend. If you get the inside line there, it is job done, because the camber on the inside of that is where all the grip is. If you're stuck on the outside, it's going to be very difficult to fight somebody on the inside, but at the same breath, it's going to be easy to defend the inside, because if you just take away that inside from them, there's no chance to go around the outside, and they're going to have to slot in behind for the entire mountain again. But like you say as well, Forest Elbow, if you get a good exit out of there, you get such a good run on the car in front if they make a mistake. But I get the feeling we're going to see a few mistakes there, as we see a driver getting very wet nicely out of the way, using the one little bit of runoff that there is on this, probably somebody's garage on the other side of that barrier as well. But,
yeah, that's the old shed in the backyard, isn't it? Oh, there's a stab of oversteer. That's the Forest Elbow. So that himself, if he was on a massive attack from a driver behind, that potentially would be looking to be a drag strip all the way down there. But of course, I think Reece is just having a fun, giving us a good little demonstration. I don't think his time's going to be beaten. I'm not seeing, as you can see on the screens right now, anybody setting a lot of greens or purples. So having fun and knowing he's in the best possible position to start the race, which is all you can do. But so go back to Stefan Parkinson, isn't it? Like, look at that. Look at the gaps that he has essentially down to the AM classes. He's just right in the mix of all the pros.
Yeah, we've seen this before from Stefan Parkinson as well, and it's down to him really to turn that into a result. I think he got a win last week out in Donington, I believe, or at least got a good result, but his championships faltered a little bit because of the amount of incidents and spins he's been involved in. He's got the pace, though, that's the most important thing, but one lap pace doesn't mean much Even in a 20-minute sprint, you need to have consistent pace and consistently keep all 4 tyres pointing in the same direction. So it's going to be tough for him here at Bathurst. Very, very easy to make the slightest mistake here that cost you big. We've got only 20 seconds left to qualify, and we're not going to see many new times come in. In fact, there's nobody nearing the end of the lap, so that's going to be it for qualifying. We'll get your grids soon. As that's not how you do it.
Yeah.
And as the Agip or Ajip, I can't tell what sponsor that is, but ends up sideways, and that's that done. But
sponsor. And the biggest thing is Scotty, isn't it? Scotty way down. I'm not sure what happened to Scotty, but 21st place. But get those grid results up there for you in about T-minus 2 seconds.
Go through these as quick as possible then, because we've got the race coming up soon. We've got Rhys Saunders in pole position with Auramas Zilinskas in the front row with him, with Stefan Parkinson just behind the lead driver, with Mark Thomas in P4, Paul Cowlishaw in P5, Raz Harper in P6, Gary Mitchell in P7, and Joe Glass P8, doing well in the AM category. Modestas Chrysauskas in P9, followed by Thiago Reiser, again struggling with qualifying, but he's always fast in the race. James Bostock in P11, followed by Philip McConaughey in P12. We've got Stephen Donnelly in P13, followed by Matthew Jones in 14th, and Wesley Van Rens in 15th, followed by Robin Truswell in 16th, Graham Matthew in 17th, and Gareth Newton in 18th, Chris Keenan in 19th, and Joseph Preston in P20. Scott Kostrich in P21, and James Pallett in P22. Looks like a new driver, not seen his name before, followed by Dave Clark in P23, and Sean Clark in P24, both for CC Racing. I imagine they're brothers.
Oh.
Maybe father and son?
I think after round 6, we get through all those drivers. A lot of drivers to go through. So, Jay, good work on that one, my friend. Good work.
Yeah, we've only got 24 drivers here today, which is, I think, maybe one of the lowest turnouts so far this season. But I've got to say, so far this season, for the very first season in this category, it's been a very good turnout. We've got one driver missing from the front row, a couple of drivers missing from the grid at the moment. I don't know how many people are going to think, I'm going to start from the pits here, see how I do from there. But it's that man in green on your left-hand side of your screen that I'm going to be watching at the beginning of this race. His starts have been immense as we get the 5 lights up on your board. We've got 1, we've got 2, we've got 3 and 4 and 5, and it's away we go for Bathurst. And it looks like a good start once more from Zilinskas, and he's jumped Rhys Saunders straight off the bat again. Who could have predicted that, I wonder? And he down into Hell's Corner. It looks very clean so far, and a couple of side-by-side actions there in the background, but Rhys Saunders gets mugged at the start once more, and already not really close enough to make the move back into Quarry Bend as we get some side-by-side racing between Cowlishaw and Parkinson. Cowlishaw looks like he's got Parkinson on the outside and takes the lead into Quarry Corner, gets P4 away from him. And what a start by Zilinskas yet again, and he'll take the lead over the mountain and down the mountain, and that'll be suiting him down to the ground. It looks like a clean start for the most part, and very few positions gained or lost, other than Zilinskas and Reiser has also jumped a position there, along with Van Rens, Newton in the background, and Pallett in the background as well, also gaining a position. And there we have it, nice little single file situation over the mountain. And now down the tough part we go. And lots of wall banging. There's a Year 1 driver over onto the grass there. There's somebody around in the Chrysauskas who's off track and into the grass. And it's already started the carnage as people struggle over that mountain. It's such a difficult place to race. And any untowardness just in front of you and you've got very little time to react. Zilinskas, though, leads the charge. And Rhys Saunders, they're both just checked out from Thomas at the moment. Thomas unable to keep up with these two. And Rhys Saunders at the moment is keeping the pressure on Zilinskas and will be looking to try and get that position back as soon as he can.
Yeah, you can see it exactly at the moment as we're riding. Looking at the pictures right now, the 191 machine. That's the thing that we're talking about, isn't it? The king of the mountain, the one that lead the mountain up and down, is going to be crucial. But further back of the field, I just want to see some of these very, very close battles. There's a battle between Joseph looking to bring it on James Pallett down into the chase, and they're going to be side by side through this. Could get nasty, and it has gotten nasty. We did kind of predict that one. Well, I did. I didn't really want to predict it, guys, but you had basically put the script in front of me, and I just read it. Going back to Stephen.
Very tough to go around side by side through the chase there, as you saw. Once you guys got the inside, you've got to give it up. you've got to be giving it up, to be honest, once you've got the inside line. But looked as though man behind just turned in a bit too sharply there. But let's have a look here as we've got the number 23 car making the move on the Tunnocks TK. But round the outside into Quarry Bend, can't be done really. Tunnocks TK car will get the inside line and all of the grip. And look at that, just how easy is that to defend. There, gets it done, and now there's no opportunity to make any kind of overtake until you get off the mountain. Ricer up a few positions already, making his headway early on as he gets a little bit of a snap there of oversteer, and yeah, he's going to have to just settle in behind the TK man for the time being. As yeah, it's going to be difficult to make any kind of move down this mountain. You've got to wait, basically hope they make a mistake and hope they don't come back off the barrier into you, essentially. There's yeah, heavy fuel at the moment makes this even more difficult down this mountain.
Stefan has to hold off Rice Harper at the moment. Sorry, not Raz Harper, not Rice. We know Wizzo Rice at the moment, but Rice is in P2, resenders. And that'll be interesting, because we might switch over to that camera, my friend, because they're going to be making their way down the Conrod Straight. And here it is, full speed, flat out. Pedal to the metal. Hit the loud pedal. Will it be loud enough? That's going to be a little bit too far back, isn't it, to fully ascend down through here? No, can't do it here, guys.
Yeah, nothing to be done. It's very difficult to overtake here at Bathurst at the best of times because it's so every corner that you can overtake in is very easy to defend the inside line for. But the pressure is on Zelinskas at the moment from Risonas. They've disappeared from P3. 3 seconds the gap after 1-2 laps already. So these guys are out in front on their own. Little battle between themselves. But it's so difficult to overtake here that if either of these make a mistake, it could spell disaster for them both and allow somebody else to overtake them both and take the win. But at the moment, Saunders showing purple sectors in sector 4 and 5, purple sectors in sectors 2, 3 and
Going
6.
for it.
Yes, he has. He's got the inside line and he's outbraked them. Can't believe he didn't defend the inside there, Zelinskas. You have to defend that position. I'm wondering whether or not he just doesn't fancy having Saunders in his rear view mirror for 15 minutes. The pressure and that entails as well. Maybe he just gave it to him, but if he defended the inside there, he would have certainly defended the position.
Just seeing at the moment, Phil's had a little bit of a well, Phil's had a moment, and let's have a look at the reason why Phil's had a moment. Because I was seeing this, once again, out of the hell's corner, isn't it? Claims
that
another
curve can be
victory.
very deadly. Yeah.
And he's going to lose a couple of places at the moment. So Phil currently running in P17 in this race. Gets back on track and hopefully back on the pace. The mountain does not take any prisoners, especially in the prison colony, ex-prison colony of Australia. Here we go. So, Joe Glass, how's Joey doing? There he is currently at the moment. He's got Reese. He's got a little bit of a gap there. Reese Harper up the road. There's Gary Mitchell just behind him. And his tailpipe, and that's what the battle you saw before on the races. It's turned into a three-way battle, my friend, because Diego Rise has now caught the pack. And Sean Clark, unfortunately, has had a moment here. He's plump last, so Mr. Sean hasn't had any blues, but just a little bit of camera time for Sean as he lost this, climbing up and gone too deep in the fence there. Oh, and yeah, spun it around. Last place at the moment, that's okay. Give him advantage when it comes to the flipping through for the main race.
It's starting to spread out a little bit now, but we've got another battle on our hands here. Down into Chase, and down the inside goes McConaughey, and that's a job done again. So as difficult as it is to overtake here, it can be done, especially if you've got that pace, but you need to have a fair bit more pace. But Saunders at the moment is running away with this first one. Beaten off the line once more by Zelinskas, but Zelinskas unable to defend the position. I probably would have fought that till the death, were I Aramas, and defending the inside. Cowlishaw is now catching up to Thomas, and also got battle brewing there as well. Got Trustwell and Newton down in P8 and P9 in the arm category as well. But from Glass's point of view, you mentioned Joe Glass earlier, he's got to think about Ricer behind Mitchell, excuse me, I've got, I don't know, hiccups or burpee hiccups or something like that kind of thing, but he's got to worry about Ricer behind, and Parkinson at the moment just needs to keep his head and keep it on track, and as I say that, he bangs the wall. We're going to see a lot of that in this race, because there's no damage here. People are going to be taking more risks with those walls, especially around those fast left-handers through the cutting, Griffin's Mount, Mead Park, Sullivan Park, McPhillamy Park. Very, very important that you use all of the track there to get the time, and you've got to be worried about the walls in most races, but no damage in this one means you can get away with it a little bit easier. Got more side-by-side action here between this very, very yellow DeWalt liveried car and a red Ferrari behind of McConaughey as Trustwell and Newton, and yeah, it's going to be very difficult for them to make a move. You've got to, like you say, get a very good exit out of Forest Elbow, and yeah, not good enough here for Trustwell. He's gaining, but ever so slightly. The toe looks quite powerful though. It's only worth maybe a tenth, 2/10 maybe down this straight, maybe a tenth. Depends on the exit that he got, of course, but he's going to have to make a major send down into Chase if he wants to get this position and thinks better of it. And yeah, got to be careful with the curbs in Chase as well. Very, very high the curbs here at Bathurst can be problematic if you hit them the wrong way, as we've already saw in Hell's Corner as well.
There it is.
Hit that outside curb a bit too hard, it's very easy to unsettle the car and spin it around.
Coming up right now, of course, Hell's Corner. This will be the one to see. You want to touch that chicane, my friend? Go for it. But you see the driver staying a little bit clear of it. Gets that little snap of oversteer. Now on to the loud pedal. Chasing him up there. Pretty much even Stevens on exit speed. But further up the field, let's have a look at whether or not James is going to take it to Diego. And I think James may very well. Did he get the job done? Yeah, he did not get the job done.
Yeah, I think he got passed on the mountain straight down into Quarry Bend.
And this
well
is the
before
pass, actually,
the braking
from... Ah, this is another... Actually, overtake. That's not the one I want. This is something else.
That is Chris Auscast going around the outside of somebody who's made a mistake in Chase. But yeah, it's starting to spread out a bit. I predicted this. Ooh, we're going to move down the mountain here by the looks of things. That would look like maybe Donnelly trying to get past Bostock there. I mean, that's nigh on impossible to make any kind of move over the mountain. But he was looking up the inside for a second there. It looked rather dangerous, if I might add as well. But this Year 1 driver of Donnelly looking to get this position back if he can in the AM category. And this is the closest battle we've got on track at the moment. We've got Trustwell on Newton and Harper on Parkinson now as well. Harper will be looking to get that move done as soon as possible. And Parkinson wants to hope that it gets done cleanly, doesn't ruin his race. But look at this. Donnelly all over the back of Bostock now, and is he going to get this done into Chase? He's got a great toe, great exit out of Forest Elbow. We've got some side-by-side action there between Cowlishaw. It's Parkinson and Harper. Harper does get past Parkinson and does so cleanly as well. Parkinson will be glad that he's not being punted into oblivion there as well. But look at this, Harper now on the back of Cowlishaw, and that's going to be a battle there for the top 5 to 4th place. And looks like Cowlishaw, who was looking to attack Thomas, is now thinking about the car behind him with the 3D wrap sponsor.
You get everything wrapped in 3D, and hopefully wrap yourself a nice championship trophy at the end of the season will be what you'll be wrapping. But that's the battles that are brewing there. There's another battle brewing at the moment here between James Bostic, the 66 machine. He has to find a way around. Now, obviously, he can get an overtake done in here if you're all brave, but I don't know if he's too far back. He may be. You can see up the road a little bit of braking there from Stephen Donnelly, and yep. Now, once again, I think it comes down to, as you said, my friend, following it up through the mountain. If it wasn't following up through the mountain, the biggest problem, of course, is that the driver makes a mistake like that. Oh. Then you either capitalize on it or you don't. In this case, James goes, thank you very much. I'll take that one.
Got his braking point all wrong there, did Donnelly, and it's a very difficult braking point that, because you're uphill, you can brake a lot later than you think you can. It's a flat out left-hander into a straight line braking zone, but the track is still turning, and it looks like he's just got it all wrong there and ended up in the barrier, and that's opened the door for Bostock to take it back. We're going to see another switch here. No, he's backing off quite heavily there as he bumps the wall again in the S's, and we're going to see a lot of that, I believe. A lot of bumping here, but we've got a nice little gaggle of cars here from P4 all the way down to P7 in the AM category, and then Trustwell and Newton are not far behind them either, so it could get very interesting. Harper now on the back of Cowlishaw is looking to get this done as Mitchell. Oh, what a dive that is!
It's got to be
what
a slow down something. Why?
I don't think it was. I think he just left the door open, didn't he? So he left the door open. Mitchell just took it straight back, and we've got Reiser in the background as well.
That's Reiser have a look at all the action happening up the road. 2 cars, you can see. Reiser could be full send to go take both of them. Oh, you never know it is possible in the hills. No, thinks twice about it, but does take one place.
That's a great move there into Hell's Corner, giving him all the opportunity in the world to know what was going on. But like I said, Glass needed to worry about Reiser behind and didn't fight that particularly hard. He saw him go to the inside. Too late to block off the inside at that stage. It would have been a reactionary move. And that's very good racing from Reiser. Very aggressive, very determined, and gets through. And looks like he's dropping Glass already as well. And in a little race with the pro driver, Mitchell, in front, as we're going to have another move here. Down the inside goes Trustwell. And looks like he's not going to break in time.
He
late
sent
enough.
the dummy, and it throws your speed out, doesn't it? Look at that, scrubs so much speed by throwing that dummy. If you throw the dummy, of course, that's why the code's basically playing a bluff and poker. It's like, I'm holding all the right cards, and the other player's going, are you sure? And then they called you bluff. And when you're calling somebody's bluff, of course, you're scrubbing speed. But you still remember chasing them, you're applying pressure, and that's what it's all about. Further back up to Reese Harper, of course, once again, continuing this little 3-way party up the top of the mountain here in Bathurst, New South Wales, Australia.
Parkinson is loving this as well, because he's getting a nice little tow from a couple of faster drivers ahead, and that's allowing him to create a big gap now to Glass and Bostock. It looks like Reiser has gone around somewhere as well. He's dropping the order massively. 5 minutes to go. And that's a big problem for him. It looks like, he's gone around down the mountain by the looks of things, gone sideways. Not sure what's happened to him there. This is Skyline. And what happens here? He gets on the curb a bit too much, gets a snap of oversteer, can't catch it. And around he goes. And thankfully leaves a nice big gap for the Ferrari behind to just jump through. But Thiago, that's how easily it's done, essentially, especially down that downhill sector, losing all the grip, all the weight in the car just lifts up. It's like those moments at the fairground when your stomach jumps up a little bit in a roller coaster. And here we have a Trustwell going a bit deep here into Chase, but nobody nearby to take advantage of that. Donnelly still on the back of Bostock. There's been a lovely battle brewing between him, Donnelly, and Van Rens and Jones there. All 4 drivers looking very tasty and similar on pace at the moment, and finding it difficult to get anything done. Donnelly, after that mistake, still hasn't managed to take back the position from Bostock. Bostock defending the inside now as we head towards Quarry Bend. Not going to happen for them now. But
4 minutes to do. We're doing 2-minute lap time, so you get about 2 and change at best. I think you'll get 2 because Reese is way up the road.
Harper at the moment still unable to get past Cowlishaw either. We've seen his defensive manoeuvres before plenty of times in this season so far, and he's definitely got sharp and wide elbows, that man. So Harper's going to struggle to get past. Maybe at this stage it's a case of just settling into it and maybe not trying anything too untowards, as you see Donnelly here all over the back of Bostock still, and struggling to get past. And Van Rens and Jones are pretty much stuck behind until he gets that move done and creates a gap, which he hasn't been able to do the last 2 times he's overtaken. But here we have Harper all over the back of Cowlishaw. He's managed to get a very good run, and he's going for the inside into the kink instead. That's going to give him the outside for Chase, and that could be a mistake. We don't know. Let's see what happens here as they go side by side. Very, very close inside line for Cowlishaw, and very wide goes Harper, and job not done. Saunders gets as fast as that with a 2.9. That's an absolutely rapid time. Only 3/10 off his qualifying time there. So very, very fast here. He's going to win this by at least 4 seconds. There's no mistakes withstanding, but look at that. That's how difficult it can be to overtake here when you've got very similar pace. And I think Parkinson almost had a heart and mouth moment there as well, as Harper got a bit out of shape in Chase there. Took the wrong option there, I feel. He maybe should have tried to dive it down the inside into Chase or instead. And look at the gap now, 8/10. It's a bit of a difficult one to get back now. But if he's quicker over the mountain, then maybe he can get it another chance. Like he gained a lot of time last time round over the mountain, and could do the same again. Donnelly and Bostock also at each other's throats. It looks like Donnelly's going to take the position back. He's gone to the inside into Quarry Bend, and we've seen this before. Once you've got the inside, it's job done, and as long as he brakes in the right place, it's going to be tight. Oh, he's managed to hold it around the outside here, has Bostock. That is beautiful racing. He's going to get the inside now into the next couple of corners, and that is beautifully done. As I was saying it, I had to say it, didn't it? It's almost job done once you've got the inside line, and then Bostock just says, nah, I'm not interested in any of your predictions. I'm keeping this position whether you like it or not.
Both drivers gained 2 and 3 positions currently at the moment in this race. But yeah, great defensive driving, great offensive driving. You can see they've got the pack behind them because you got Wesley Van Rez, you have Matthew Jones lurking in the background. That's the four-way party with the last essential lap of this race. Where's our race leader going down Conrod Straight? Probably right now. Just check that Reese is there. Yep. So a little bit more to go for Reese, and then we'll go back to him because just want to see how this is going to pan out at the moment. If anybody's going to make a mistake, check the mirrors. Now they're coming up to Forest Elbow for the final, perhaps, time. Let's see if there was any white flag, but there he is crossing the line right now. Will it be it'll be a white flag, so one more lap there for Reese. One more lap for the rest of the drivers.
And we've got lost Scott Kostrich out of this race as well. 1 lap down out of the race, and nothing doing for him. Maybe had 1 too many spins or wall bashes for his liking and has given it up on this one. But Donnelly, Van Rens, Jones and Bostock still battling this out tooth and nail here as we are on the final lap of this 20-minute sprint race. We've got another 30-minute race coming up, which will include a pit stop at some stage. And it'll be interesting to see how people judge that in the next race, whether people are going to go in early. We saw that last week in Donington, and it worked out brilliantly for a couple of people, I believe, last time out. And I imagine here it's going to be even more powerful, the undercut. As long as you get clean air, it can give you a lot of free space on track, banging in those fast laps. But Saunders hasn't looked back since he overtook Auramas. Auramas maybe worried that he should have defended that a bit harder, but given the 5.5 second gap between the two of them, it was only a matter of time before Saunders took the win. But this second race, he'll be starting P15, Zelinskas in P14. He just needs to beat Zelinskas, though. That's his main aim, is beating Zelinskas, because that's all he has to do in order to try and gain points in the championship here at Bathurst.
Well, going back to those pit stops, of course, they say don't judge a pit stop by its tyres or by a pit stop crew. That's actually don't judge a book by its cover, but I'm just making it up for motor racing. But there's Reece Saunders. He's got a 5-second gap, so once he regained that P1 position, bingo, up the road, not a problem. And the only problem he has right now is himself making a mistake. And we know that the Wolves take no prisoners here in Bathurst. He has a lap car at the moment too. He's not going to risk it for the biscuit at this point. He only has to go around essentially 1 more corner to cross the line. I think it should be Barney because the 0 is 0 on there. And the car even pulls across to say, Reece, take the checker flag, take the race win.
Yeah, job done for Reece Saunders. Another fantastic win under his belt, and needed essentially as Zelinskas comes in P2. It means that there's very little, only 5-point gain there in this race over his compatriot, and it's going to be difficult for Saunders to win this championship if Zelinskas is consistent finishing.
Oh, Parkinson gets that fastest lap right at the end. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
And the win, yeah, he gets the fastest lap in the AM category at least, because Reece Saunders actually did a 2:02.97, the only man to hit the 2s in the race. But Harper doesn't manage to get Cowdershaw in the end. It has to settle for P5, but Parkinson will be very, very happy with that win. He's been struggling for these good results in the last few weeks, and that one will be music to his ears as everybody's finishing now. Getting a lot of people crossing the line. Keenan with a nice fast time there of a 2:05.8 compared to the people around him, but Donnelly unable to get that position back from Bostock. Bostock with his podium here in Bathurst will be very pleased with that, and Reiser down in P11 has lost out a lot of points here in terms of the championship. And we'll go to a 5-minute warm-up here before we go for the 30-minute sprint race, and then we'll have a look at the starting grid for this next one. Maybe more of the same, I imagine. Lots of crashes, lots of wall bangs, lots of position changes as well. But the biggest losers there, Thiago Reiser, down 8 positions, as well as Modestas Krasauskas, who's down 14 positions. biggest winner was Gareth Newton, who gained 5 positions there, which shows you how hard it is to overtake here. Wesley Van Ren's an honourable mention with 4 positions gained, along with David Clark. Down in P19, gained 4 positions as well. But very, very difficult to make overtakes and change here. And Rhys Saunders on the ball once again, but with only 3 races left, we've got Suzuka and Imola to go in this series. There's not a lot of time. If he's finishing only 1 position ahead of Aramas every race, that's not enough. That's not enough to take the lead of the championship before the end. He needs Aramas to have a howler and end up at the back of the grid. And that could be here and now in this next race, because they're starting P15 and 14 respectively, and that's right in the middle of the pack. So here we have your results. We've got Rhys Saunders, who wins Aramas in P2, and Mark Thomas picks up another podium. That man is a consistency master. Paul Cowlishaw in P4 and Raz Harper in P5. Stefan Parkinson takes the win in the AM category in P6. Followed by Gary Mitchell in P7. We've got Joe Glass in P8 and James Bostock in P9. Stephen Donnelly in P10 and Wesley Van Ren's in P11. Matthew Jones in P12 and Gareth Newton in P13. Robin Truswell in P14 and Philip McConaughey in P15. Obviously, there you're going to have your reverse grid. So it's going to be Philip McConaughey in pole for the pro category. If he can hold on to that, it could be a very good win for Philip this time out. Robin Truswell in P2 on the start of the next one. It's going to be Chris Keenan behind Rhys Saunders, though, there in P16. And Graham Matthew down there, just on the cutoff off your screen. And Thiago Reuser in P18, David Clark in P19, and Joseph Preston in P20, followed by Sean Clark in P21, and James Pallett P22. Got Modestas and also got Kostrich below that, who did not finish the race, the first 20-minute sprint. So, getting ready for another race here. 30 minutes, no damage, 1 pit stop. It'd be interesting to see how many people just come in the, like, maybe worthwhile, especially at this track, underfueling the car massively, pitting on the first lap, and then getting some nice clean air and running your own race for a little while and hoping to jump a few people with the undercut. Be interesting to see what people do, as see what we can expect here. I imagine this kind of thing, as this is what we love here about this kind of the reverse grid, and why they maybe wanted to introduce it into F1 as well, is because it means the faster drivers and the faster cars have to make their way through the battle their way through the pack, essentially, and that can be very difficult, especially in a track like this. You've also got the added danger of one of these faster drivers, such as Saunders, just rear-ending somebody because they're not expecting them to brake so early, as follow on board with somebody on their warm-up at the moment. But it's going to be interesting to see how they judge and manage this mountain sector in the first lap. It's going to be a possibility of absolute carnage. I've got to say, we had the cleanest race ever last time out in Donington Park. No penalties at all, which is why we didn't go through them. We did have Carl Hanwick reported twice, but both were judged to be racing incident. Which I'm a bit surprised by, because I did see a couple of things last time in Donington, but maybe they weren't reported, essentially, which I'm always surprised by. I always think to myself, if there's an incident, it should be reported 100%. I know how some people in leagues sometimes decide not to report somebody because they apologise or because they want to be nice or think, it was just an honest mistake, but I'm of the ilk that if there's an incident, it has to be reported to the stewards. It's got to be. It can affect things outside of just that one battle. It can affect championships, and when you don't report people, there's no opportunity to improve as a league and a driver as well. But remains to be seen after this one if there's any reports.
You're like the FIA in Formula 1, aren't you? Just like every little bump, every little tap, every little everything, gotta report it. But that's because they're multi-million-dollar car companies and have to do that because it's business. But here in iRacing, I don't know if you really need to. In a league racing, You know,
not every little bump.
You're
like,
a tough
if
steward.
nothing.
I hope you're not stewarding in a point suit, my friend.
I spent a lot of time on Sim Racing Stewards Reddit, definitely. But not every little bump, not at all. But if there's an incident that costs you positions or sends you off track, then yeah, definitely. I think you've got to report it. It's the only way you can improve as a driver and improve as a league as well. And yeah, I think it's part and parcel of competitive racing, in my view.
It is. There's always a limit because it's basically like it's like, what is it? It's like a court, you know. You got to have somebody that says I was in the right, somebody that says I was in the wrong, and that can just be debated and heated forever. Essentially, at the end of the day, it's most of the time in league racing, of course, because these aren't drivers up for their career and millions of dollars in contracts. You know, somebody has to step forward and say, you know, possibly is my bad situation, etc., etc. But that's what league racing is, a little bit more fun. It certainly is here at the Evolution Sim Racing. And there are your grid for the reverse grid feature race.
So we've got Philip McConaughey in P1 for this one. Robin Trustwell on the front row as well, with Gareth Newton and Matthew Jones behind them too. Wesley Van Rens and Stephen Donnelly, followed by James Bostock and Joe Glass. Gary Mitchell and Stefan Parkinson behind them. Raz Harper and Paul Cowlishaw in P11 and 12 as we move down the grid. We've got somebody revving their engine. It looks like P1. It's Mark Thomas in P13, Aaron Masalinskas in P14, followed by Rhys Saunders in P15 and Chris Keenan in P16. 17th is Graham Matthews and Tiago Reiser. And away we go already. And it looks like a lot of wheel spin there from P2, but it looks like he's got the jump on P1 already. And there's a big crash behind. Absolute mayhem behind. And that could give a lot of bonus positions to some of the people behind as well. But it looks like some people got caught up unnecessarily there. And but McConaughey holds on to P1 through Hell's Corner and down into Quarry Bend we go. It looks like he's not under any pressure or threat as Glass, Newton and Trustwell follow him down. It looks like Glass is going to go for the dive into Quarry Bend as well and gets it done. What a move there by Stephen Glass and Joe Glass, and that puts Newton in Donnelly's sights there as well. We'll have to look at a replay of what happened at the start there. Looks like maybe somebody just got a bit too much wheel spin there on the start and caused an absolute wreck, as now it's over and down the mountain we go, and we're seeing a lot of drivers very close to each other. This is recipe for disaster. We're seeing a move here as well, as looks like somebody in a red Ferrari is going around the outside into Skyline, and it's looking very, very tasty indeed. 5 position gain by Stephen Glass. He's absolutely shot off the line and gained that position into Quarry Bend as well. Maybe a benefactor of some of the carnage at the beginning there as we're going to the dipper. There's somebody out of position and offline there as well, as it looks like McConaughey is out of position. He's dropped a couple of positions. He's managed to gain one back. How are you battling, boys, over down the mountain? That is insanity. But it's job done. McConaughey manages to hold the position off from Glass, and Glass has had such a good start. Trustwell in nosebleed territory here, the number 19 driver in P1, and looking to be running away with it. Saunders and Zelinskas unable to get moving at the moment, as they've been stuck behind some of the slower drivers down the mountain. And it looks like Keenan is going to have a go into chase, but what a start that was. Hopefully we can get a replay of the beginning there and see what went wrong. But here we have Harper getting overtaken by Thomas there by the looks of things, and going for the move on him is what's going on there. Donnelly as well going down the inside of Mitchell. Is that, or is that Harper going on the inside of Donnelly? I believe it is. Not sure. That's Stephen Donnelly there, number 5 in the 30 car. Looks like he's been overtaken by Harper by the looks of things. Gets himself P3 in his pro category, and it's been a bit more exciting the start of this second race here, as things have been chopping and changing left, right and centre, and looks like you're going to have a 3 wide here in the Quarry Bend. Nope, somebody thinks better of it, but that's McConaughey going down the inside, gets the inside line and takes Trustwell. Wasn't in the lead for long, and gets his position back in front of the field, does McConaughey. And this is some brilliant racing here, as we've got Joe Glass down the inside into this left-hander. It looks like, somebody got it very wrong there. It looks like Joe Glass. I don't know why I keep thinking his name is Steve. But that is unfortunate for him. He's lost a few positions that he gained early on with that one mistake there. Still very, very tight as we head over the mountain once more.
It's absolutely crazy, isn't it? There's a lot of action. They're a little bit different in the feature race than it is in the sprint race that we had. But action. We'll go back to the replay, of course, in the start a little bit. But we'll have to see what's going to happen here as they go on their way back down the mountain, fall their way back down the mountain. Just lift and coast, gentlemen. No, they're gassing it as much as they possibly can. So when an exit, there it is. So it's Rice Harper.
Oh, Harper's round. He's looking the wrong way.
Yeah, but he's off the racing line. Thankfully, not going to be causing massive problems just for now. There could be many worse places you could be in the mountain.
I mean, that's what happens at Bathurst. Very, very easy to end up pointing the wrong direction. And yeah, it looks like Zilinskas and Saunders are making short work of this field at the moment. As they're still fighting themselves. Look at how close these three are. Cowlishaw in the mix there as well. And we know these three have all got very similar pace. Saunders gets past Zilinskas there as well. Not a bad move at all. From Saunders, and he needs to beat that man, and he needs that man to have a big accident as well. A 207.4, the fastest lap of the race, followed by a 206.7 from Thomas there to take it away from McConaughey there as well. So this is what the beauty of these reverse grids are. It's giving us a lot of action here. As well. See the replay of the start, it looks like, it's hard to say what's gone wrong there. Need to see that a few more times. Look at that spin back onto the track as well, causing even more havoc. Just unable to get the car pointing in the right direction. It looks like Bostock there tags the back of the Guarana driver and went for the gap, and the gap just closed immediately. He got such a good start there as well, and yeah, a bit of maybe a racing incident, I suppose, but tough one to call. FIA are going to have their work cut out on that one. We've got more side-by-side action as well, and this is up the mountain as well, and there's somebody going sideways. That's safety drifting. That's not very safe at all, I have to say. Drift there from Krasauskas as gets a bit out of shape going up the mountain.
Oh, this is fun. You knew the mountain was going to provide entertainment, and it certainly has here. Round 6 live from Bathurst for the Evolution Sim Racing. It's Ferrari versus Bathurst. And who's going to come out on top? That's going to be the key, isn't it? Philip is leading this currently at the moment for the feature race. Pit stops will be coming into play a little later on. First of all, I'd just be thinking about getting your way up and down the mountain first, and then worry about really exit speed too.
Yeah, Gary Mitchell. It could be Mitchell as
very
well.
much in big trouble here right now.
Yeah, Saunders not far behind them as well. We know what he's like. He sees an opportunity, he will take it. Looks like Cowlishaw is going to go to the inside for the kink. This didn't work out for it was Harper last time round, but it looks like he's got a good run here, but late, both on the brakes at the same time. Bit of contact there, as there you have it. It's the inside line is so strong, and look at that, Zilinskas takes them both. Look at that, what a move from Zilinskas. He just waited for his opportunity there. Saunders is in the pits. He's going for the early pit stop here, and looks like Cowlishaw managed to get the inside into Murray's corner and takes the position back. But we're seeing some fantastic racing here. Zilinskas, what a move that was. It didn't stick, but what a move that was. Gets two of them. Look at that. Down the inside. Thank you very much. And then into the pits goes Saunders. But look at this, the inside line into Murray's corner just hasn't got the grip on the outside there to make it stick. And Cowlishaw gets it back. Fantastic racing here at Bathurst.
Keep you on the toes, my friend. Keep everybody out there in the chat. Hello, hello. Welcome along. Of course, a lot of the drivers will be tuning into this one later and watching themselves and go, wow, this is all the action that's happening around my car, around the track, around everywhere. And it is absolutely exciting. Continuing that battle, of course, with Gary Mitchell. It's still here in the mix there. Who wants it? He's got a DeWalt car. Get your power tools out, my friend. You're going to need to grind and grind and grind to get pulled.
And here's we've seen it. Much tighter gaps here after the first 2 or 3 laps at Bathurst, and Glass at the moment looking very racy on the back of Newton, and McConaughey at the moment as well will be happy that things are going so bad for everybody behind. But look at this, Saunders down quite a distance, but he's managed to get himself a lot of clean air. Rice unable to make headway at the moment, but he's looking racy on the back of Clark at the moment, and that won't be long before he gets past Gary Mitchell on the back of Cowlishaw here as well, looking to get the move done. Zilinskas has dropped behind Mitchell here as well. Maybe he made a mistake at some stage, that we've missed, but he just needs to keep it together. Ooh, this is very close to punt territory there, and look at that, down the inside, he's done it again, Zelinskas, with the same move. Mitchell gets out of shape in under braking and cannot get the move done. Look at this, Karabelas trying to go around the outside in Murray's corner, and that's a very difficult move to get done, but he's done it. He's absolutely done it. Donnelly unable to fight that one back, and that gives Karabelas a little bit of breathing room. As down the inside goes Mitchell on Zelinskas in Hell's corner, and Zelinskas getting a bit out of shape there on the curb. That's very lucky that he doesn't go spinning off into the wall on the left-hand side. We're seeing a lot of racing here. Elbows are out this evening, and people are not afraid to send it here. Let's have a look at this one. What's happened here? Mark Thomas.
Front of the field here, Mark Thomas and Philip McConnelly. And there's switcheroos a couple of times between the two drivers. Well, we're watching that action, of course, before, behind them.
Mark Thomas, if he gets a win here, he could be on for a championship charge late into the day in this championship, as we see some side-by-side action up the mountain here as well. Car on the inside,
That's
very, very difficult to deal with this, as Zelinskas in the background.
Oh, no.
Oh, this is a recipe for disaster. This is going to be very, very tight coming down the mountain. There's a little bit of break there through a flat corner, and that's going to really put the willies up Zelinskas as he's struggling to get past these guys. He's in a battle, and he knows it. As down the mountain to go is more heavy braking there from Donnelly. He's really holding up Zelinskas. Look at the man in front, Mitchell, has disappeared from them, and Zelinskas will be cursing the man in front, saying, "Get out of my way! I'm tired of this. I want to go faster."
Yeah,
There's nowhere to go down that mountain.
Oh, I'm going to try 3 at some point. I was like, that ain't going to work. As Philip had a little tangle in the fence as well, too, but he still is leading this race. He's Philip P1, 169 machine. But I just want to see this battle here down the Conrod Straight. As you can see, Joseph putting a bit of pressure on. Not Joseph, of course. There is Zelinkas. With up. Get it? No, can't do it here. So it's a little switcheroo. Won't get it there, rather. I have to keep an eye on Reece Saunders, of course, because he did that little early pit stop to see he doesn't want to be a part of any of that action. And Gareth, he will go into pit road. And speaking of Stefan Parkinson, here it is. This is the three-way battle. He's got Scotty up the road there, Scott Kosrick, and he's gone into pit road. So go back into this little brewing battle. Of course, Chris Keegan has a little bit of a crash moment here. I'd say he's he hasn't purchased a nice dinner for those walls here in Bathurst, and therefore, he has to pay the bill on that one, isn't he? He has to pay the dinner bill.
So easy to do. I've seen this before. Point the wrong way on the bottom of the mountain, and very, very difficult to get turned around again with cars coming along. Very easy to make a poor rejoin and give yourself a big penalty. FIA stewards here in this league very strict on rejoins, and can't imagine that the FIA are going to be as quiet this week as they were last week at Donington Park. Absolutely no penalties from Donington Park. I get the feeling there's going to be a few here at Bathurst because it's so easy to make mistakes here. But McConaughey has retaken the lead from Thomas. Thomas and McConaughey are having a battle of the ages here for the win. 18 minutes to go though, and once they pit, it may be the case that a few people behind will jump them with the undercut. Saunders pitted very early for his pit stop. I imagine he just underfueled a little bit, hoping that half fuel a car, half fuel, and come in early and then put some fuel in. But it's always the chance that somebody's got it wrong on the fuel in the pit stops and ends up running out before the end. But
I get a feeling he just didn't want to be right involved in that huge battle. But this man Thomas has gained 11 positions currently at the moment. Mark Thomas, the 150 machine, sitting in P2. Well, you don't want to be following too much around the mountain because if the driver makes a mistake up the road, which is Philip, that'll be the case. Philip starting the same position in this heat race, reverse grid that starting in the same position he started in. So there it is. Too many starts to that sentence. Make sure start's one thing, my friend. Finishing is another.
Yeah, it's not where you start, though, is it? You say it's definitely where you finish. And Mark Thomas, he's really piling the pressure on, and this will do his championship the world of good because Zelinskas and Saunders, who virtue of being the reverse grid, are way off the back, and he's P2 in the championship at the moment. So he's got the opportunity here to win this championship. He's been consistent all season. He's not been involved in too many shenanigans, and that really pays dividends come the end of the season. Karabelas gets past Glass there in the background as well, gets up on a P3. He's been relatively consistent after a rocky start to the season, involved in a few incidents here and there, but it's a good finish, looking like a good finish here from him as well. But Zilinskas and Saunders are still in the mix here. Zilinskas unable to get past Mitchell though. Oh, that's a big wall scrape there from McConaughey, as these two are battling it hammer and tongs over the mountain as well, and mistakes like that can cost both of them big, as you're getting a bit too much on that curve on the inside there, can very much unsettle the car there, as soaking the brakes down into Skyline, and nothing doing here. You just got to wait for McConaughey to make the mistake here, or maybe he'll get a good exit out of Forest Elbow. We'll see here as he gets all the way to the right hand side. Good braking point. Oh, that's a bad exit from McConaughey, and that's opened the door.
Yeah.
And look at that, he's already alongside. He's going to have great speed down here. He's going to get the position, and he's going to have the inside for Chase as well. And he's probably going to get this done well before then. He's got so much more speed. The kink is going to maybe give it back a little bit to McConaughey, but having that inside line at the Chase corner, it means that it might just be job done. There's a little bit of contact there. There's the inside line.
Oh, he does not want to give it up at all. Not at all. Phillips says, I'm starting at P1 in this race, and I'm going to remain in P1 until my pit stops. And here's Thomas going, let's see if I can do something about that as they make their way to the final corner. There's a spin around.
Contact, and there's Karabelas caught up in it as well. And that was a disaster waiting to happen. Karabelas is the worst off out of them all as well. Well, McConaughey's down to P5 now. And that was inevitable. But look at this, Zilinskas now in P3 in class, and Trustwell takes back the lead. He was in nosebleed territory earlier on, and now he's back there again. And oh my word, that was entertaining, I've got to say. That just looked like a very, very simple mistake to make, just the tiniest little bit of contact there. But how well did McConaughey do there to hold it round the outside, last of the late breakers into Murray's corner, but it didn't work out for him at all, because Thomas unfortunately just tagged his rear end. Maybe thought he was clear, or maybe just had a bit too much understeer in the car, trying to keep it on the inside.
Yeah, fighting for that position is always very, very risky, considering you have a couple more quarters of overtaking opportunities. Just didn't want to yield it, and of course it's going to cost you a lot of time now spinning around, especially at Bathurst, where you're on essentially that final corner. Look at this battle. Look at this, my friend. You can almost foresee something's going to go pole-shaped as they make their way up the mountain and back down again now. Oh, I could just imagine. If you close your eyes, you can almost predict that there's something may happen.
Some point, some of these guys in these big groups of cars are going to have to think to themselves, I need to figure out whether there's space behind me. Oh, a couple of bangs on the wall there on the exit to Forest Elbow, I think that is. And then that's, Saunders might be thinking here at the moment, like, once we've got the pit stops out of the way, he could overtake everybody with that undercut and end up in P1. It remains to be seen. He's quite a way off the front of them at the moment, but it's a long pit stop here at Bathurst, I believe. Oh, that's a big send there from Karabelas as well, by the looks of things, and a bit of a tap there as well. And Zilinskas again with that move through Chase. He's getting up the inside, but nowhere to go because of Glass there. As Karabelas gets the inside line, and there's Glass getting mugged on the inside as well. Zilinskas gets through, and Glass is just happy to give that one up. He wants this good position. Yeah, he doesn't want to fight out with the pro guys too much. He looks to the inside into hell corner though, but nothing doing there. These guys are too quick.
I think that's clever at this point. You still have 12 minutes to go. A lot of pit stops for some of these drivers to do. So then again, it's entertaining to watch the racing. Here's your pit stop situation at the moment. Saunders, as you said, probably clever. He gains another position. So essentially, he's up into P9 overall. But remember, he's the first one to take a pit stop. So has that paid off? I think maybe. Here's Mod up the road from him.
He's had so much clean air there, Saunders. I get the feeling that he's going to make a few positions up with this. It's possible he could even win the race. But Thomas there in P1 may get a position penalty or a couple of drivers' championship penalty after that incident with Karabelas and who else was it? It was McConaughey as well, who's in the pits at the moment and has dropped all the way down to the very back. Clark is out of this one, 4 laps down. He's had enough and disappeared from the session. But, Saunders, absolutely rapid, as we've seen all season, being the fastest man in this championship all season. By virtue of the fact that he's missed a race and had a couple of incidents in a couple of races as well, his championship chances are looking slim. Zelinskas, he needs to beat him. He needs Zelinskas to have a moment. He's definitely had 1 or 2 moments earlier in the season as well. It's not out of the realms of possibilities. But Zelinskas at the moment all over the back of Cowlishaw. Cowlishaw up on the back of a back marker. We thought about a dive there, but thought better of it in the end. Stephen Donnelly, what's happened to him? This is Skyline, and a very easy place to get things wrong. And yeah, just carried too much speed, and then that's a big one. That's a big one.
Yeah, it's going to get overtaken by a couple of drivers here, as thankfully he's just off the racing line. They should have enough time because they're going to swing it all over to the right-hand side, and he was up on the inside. Goes Robin Trustwell.
McConaughey's been in the pits for quite some time as well, so I get the feeling that he's just given up the ghost at the moment. He's been there 3.5 minutes nearly. Maybe a bit of frustration, disappointment with that incident that's put him way down the pecking order and left Thomas in P1. Zelinskas takes over P2 after Mitchell pits. And Trustwell as well, he managed to get past him, so he's managed to get past Glass and Trustwell as well. And the 2 Guarana drivers battling it out here down in P9 and 10. Reiser over Wesley Van Rens. Reiser not having the greatest time of it here in the ARM category at Bathurst. So as we've got some more side-by-side action, looks like that is Mitchell getting past Cowlishaw down Mountain Straight.
Yep, getting it done. Well, you need to get it done, but remember you've got to go it multiple times. So further up the field there, here's Mod under big pressure there from Joseph Preston. Preston is pushing, and that's great racing between them. Look at the different racing line, the 42 and the 33 machine going back down the mountain. Lost a little bit of time, but that's because you will have to. Great racing, great entertainment. No pit stops between them. It looks like Joe Glass as well as Robin Trustwell is still going tooth and nail between them. Robin actually gets past Joe Glass for P3.
Zelinskas finally released to try and attack Thomas as well, and we know that pace between these guys, there is a difference there. Thomas more of the consistent lapper than he is the fast lapper in comparison to Zelinskas and Saunders. Saunders up into P3 as it stands, 15 seconds behind Zelinskas. Could very well jump him after getting that early pit stop. Thomas is in the pit stop, the pit lane as well, and be interesting to see where he comes out in comparison to Saunders. That's going to give us an indication of where Zelinskas might come out. As Zelinskas sets a 2:04.4, and few people jumping into the pit lane at the moment. So we're on board now with Cowlishaw coming through Chase. Just to see if any of these guys coming at the pits. Nope, they're all coming on into Murray's Corner. As Pallet, who's a newcomer to the league, is doing rather well in his debut, as we see several drivers coming down into the pit stops. I wonder if they're all running out of fuel at this stage, in terms of everybody's got the fixed setup, or everybody's got the same amount of fuel, but it's up to you whether you pit early, try and get some clean air. But Saunders, look at that, Saunders has overtaken Thomas, which means that when Zelinskas pits, he's going to overtake him as well.
Absolutely right. That's going to be the key thing about those pit stops, coming out in clean air, clean traffic, and getting some pace done. These 2 drivers had their pit stops. They come back out essentially line of stern again. So we're going to see another round here of Kalishko and Mitchell. As you can see with your pictures at the moment, that's the DeWalt machine versus your candy machine, or sorry, you say cupcakes, I'm not quite sure.
Done a tea cake.
Tea cakes, sorry. I don't have them where we are, so I've never seen it before in my life, but I have seen this 157 machine here of Gary Mitchell plenty of times this season.
You'll have something similar in Australia or Panama, I'm sure. It's just a marshmallow-filled chocolate ball, basically. Very tasty. Great with tea.
Van Ries. Oh, that's it up the inside there, my friend. That's bold and brave. He didn't send it. He was just sticking with Donnelly. Stefan.
Donnelly closed the door rather aggressively there as well. There was no guarantee that Van Rens wasn't going to stick a nose up the inside of his back wheel there, but it would have been a the old vortex of danger situation would have definitely been on Van Rens had he punted him off.
He's going around here. This is an incident.
This, then.
Oh, Gaz has tapped the wall here for sure. Get a better angle. Oh, that's 3 cars involved. Yes. Oh. Man, I've chopped these trees down here in Australia. I don't want to, but that's what's happened. Let's have a look. Joe was involved in this one as well.
Difficult to see what's going on. Oh, yeah. Oh, and then Parkinson as well also gets caught up in that. Parkinson manages to get away. Oh, almost got re-tagged again by Joe Glass, but that is the nature of Bathurst. 6 minutes to go here in South Wales, Australia, and Saunders has taken the lead over Zelinskas by 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing
strategy
call there from Saunders.
Yeah, he got out of the mix, did he? Got out of there, probably foreseeing there was going to be some sort of moments off the road there. I liked him to go in early, have a clear track, stay out of all the action, put banker laps down there, and bingo, just like that, in and out of the pit stops there, and getting it down early, 10-second gap, and increasing speed too.
Thomas still in the shout though, and yeah, this means that he's going to gain, what, 10 points or 5 points? I'm not sure exactly how the point system works between the two races. I think it's 50 points for each race is the winner. So you'll gain 10 points in the championship, which is just not enough at this stage still. But it's creeping and creeping. And the biggest story of the day really is Reiser, P11 at the moment in his category, which means that a big switch coming in the AM category as well. Reiser was leading that championship by 77 points. That's going to get cut away massively here as Truswell is looking to win that one. But Parkinson in P2 is having the race of his life. He's down in P8 in the championship, 179 points behind the leader. But he's going to jump a few positions here, as we've got a number of drivers missing this week. Hussein, Darakar, Desla, one of them.
It's Reiser's. It's Reiser's basically qualifying that's really let him down at the end of the day.
Yeah, it makes it difficult for him, especially at a track like this. It's practically a street circuit here at Bathurst. Very little opportunity to overtake. Karishaw going up the inside of Chrysauskas here into Chase. It looks like that's going to be easy as you like. Job done, but Chrysauskas not giving up that easily. But breaks far too early for Chase and gives it up. But Van Rens as well on Reiser as well as teammate. This could be a 2016 Rosberg Hamilton moment, but we'll remain and see what happens here. Van Rens still unable to get it done. Just ran out of steam there at the end of the straight. Maybe he just gave it up. Doesn't want to maybe lift it a little bit. Doesn't want to punt his teammate off. But Harper there in the background after his early spin. He's looking for a couple of scraps here as we've got 3 minutes to go here at Bathurst. And yeah, starting to get very interesting. I mean, it was interesting for a fair while until Saunders pulled off the masterclass strategy and has managed to get this gun. It's going to be the second week in a row he wins both races in spectacular fashion.
It's all about it's key. It's smart driving. You know, there's fast driving, there's quick driving, there's smart driving, and you don't always necessarily have to be the very quickest driver on the track as well, even though he is. It's just a matter of timing it all the right place at the right time. Especially with Bathurst, as we can see clearly that when you get 2 or 3 cars coming together, you could be an innocent party. That one, you turned up to the party and they're like, oh, sorry, all the invitations are full. Or as you get a game of musical chairs, isn't it, my friend? When the music stops, there's no chair available for you. That's another situation. So he's made sure that when the music stopped, he's not only got one chair available for him, but he has a throne. He's currently the king of the mountain here at Bathurst.
And the problem he's got though is that he's got to be king of the mountain at Suzuka and Imola as well, and still hope that Auramas, Mark Thomas and Paul Cowlishaw all have a nightmare in one of those races as well, because he is 71 points off the lead. He'll gain 10 points at least here as he hits the fastest lap of the race with 2 minutes to go. But 10 points, he's 71 points behind. 10 points in the next 3 races gains him 30 points towards him, but that's not enough. He needs Auramas and Mark Thomas to have an absolute howler somewhere on the line in order to win this championship. But you've got to say, he's not giving it up just yet. He hasn't heard the fat lady singing, and it's still all to play for. 3 races to go.
He's doing whatever he needs to do. Once again, just deliver the performances, stick the car on pole. On pole position, gain 14 positions in this game. In this, of course, reverse grid. So that's a drive to survive Netflix special right there. And did it obviously by those pit stops. We'll have a yarn to the man after the race, and literally get a couple of minutes of change from now. And this is the battle. I think Thomas at this point is going to just sit back and settle for this P3 position, and just sit back and perhaps just see if Zelinkas was going to make any mistake up the road, or even if Reese Saunders is going to make any mistake up the road. But I doubt Reese. Well, Reese could, considering he just put the fastest lap in before. Could easily make a mistake. But let's have a look at how Reese is doing his job. Quite cool, calm and collective.
We're on the white flag lap as we stand at the moment, because there's only 50 seconds to go, and there is your race leader, Reese Saunders, just chilling there. Nice Sunday drive for him for this last lap. But one big thing here is the amount of people who gain so many positions here. We've got Reese Saunders gains 14, Aramas Zelinkas gains 12, we've got Mark Thomas who gained 10, Stefan Parkinson gained 5, Paul Cowlishaw gained 5, we've got Modestas there in P9 who gained 14 positions. Joseph Preston behind him gained 10. Scott Kostrich gained 13. We've got a spin there from Matthew Jones, who's dropping down the order a little bit as it stands. But some big winners. Philip McConaughey dropped 22 positions, dropped out of the race, still in the pits. Very frustrated, I think, with that move from Thomas. That put him out of this one. Sean Clark out of the race as well, early doors. And but yeah, this has been an entertaining race, to say the least. Looks like that this will be our white flag.
We crossed it with about 10 seconds to go, so he's going to eke out another lap, and eking out another lap equals allowing this battle to continue, my friend, for the last lap.
Certainly does. Reiser and Donnelly behind Pallet in front. Pallet doing a great job on his debut, you've got to say, here at the moment. He's sitting pretty, a 1300 rated I rating driver. Beating several faster drivers at the moment, including Raz Harper, who's there in the background of everybody here. Oh, this looks like it could be a punt. It was very close to a punt. Getting out of shape there. That's going to be a punt in the background, and Raz Harper gets caught up in it. That's a big accident there. All 3 of them get taken out. Donnelly, the man who caused that, I think, he hit the back of Reiser, and that's all gone to pot, I've got to say.
Yeah, here he is.
Let's have a look at it.
See if we can go back a little bit further. Is it Joseph involved in this one? No, that's another accident, sorry. So, Reese Harper was involved in this. There it is. So, oof.
I think it's all 3 of them, isn't it? It's all 3 of them really getting involved there.
And you're talking about on the last lap of the race, too, after being driving so well. A last opportunity for Paul, perhaps, to do anything here? Up the mountain?
It's going to be nigh on impossible to do it up the mountain. Mitchell has had his number the entire race. He's been stuck behind them for large portions of this one, and he's got 1 chance and 1 chance only, and that's out of Forrest's elbow. And that's a tough move to do. We've seen that so many times. You've got to get the inside line for chase, essentially, and if you get too good a run and they defend the outside line into the kink, it's difficult to get that move done, and it looks as though he's just going to settle here for it at the moment as we follow on with Son as he comes on the final corner for the final time here at Bathurst, and he's going to take the checkered flag to win twice in a row again. That's 4 wins on the bounce here in Evolution Sim Racing for Reese Saunders, but it's maybe too little too late for championship standards, because Zelinkas, it'll come home in P2 once more as Thomas gets another podium position for his trophy cabinet, and another strong finish for him. And Thomas is still in a shout with this championship as well. If Aramas Zelinkas has a horror race in the next 2 races, it could very well fall into Thomas's lap.
It's going to be a photo finish here.
You've got a race to the line here, but yeah, nothing doing there for Parkinson, but very, very close. Trustfall wins the AM category. He'll be very satisfied with that, as Glass comes home P3, even after his spin around. Parkinson as well also got chucked around in an incident as well, as we've got on board here with Donnelly going past Pallet as well, or Palo. I don't know how he pronounces it, but we'll find out. Cowlishaw finishes P5 in the end. Mitchell holds on to P4 in the end. Kostrich managed to gain a lot of positions and again ends up in P6 in class. Krasauskas with a great finish in P4, and Preston and Jones in P5 and 6 in the AM categories. Scott Van Rens or very close to the back of Palo as well. Raisa had one to forget today, but that does mean things have excited, livened up a bit in the arm category, because he was running away with that championship, and with 2 races to go, if he doesn't get the pressure's on him now to not have any races like this one in the next 2, because if he has another one like this, it could be game over. And he's been leading the championship all the way through the season. Really, it could be really a bit of a problem, bit of an issue for him if he lost it at this late stage. Would be the definition of a bottle, wouldn't it? Really. There we have our grid and final results for Bathurst. And what a race this was. It was a tricky one. It's almost got me dizzy how much I've had to scream and shout on this one. It's been an entertaining one for sure. And there is your race results. We've got Rhys Saunders in P1 with that masterstroke of pitting early, getting out of the trouble and running in nice clean air. Aramas Zilinskas gets P2, holds on to his championship lead for the time being over Mark Thomas, who gets P3. Robin Truswell with a fantastic win in the AM category. That'll do his championship charge no plenty of favours. As Stefan Parkinson as well. P2 in this one, P for 1 in the first race. He'll jump up the order quite a bit with Gary Mitchell with a fantastic finish. That's P4 for him in class. That's a great finish for him with Paul Cowlishaw in P7. Joe Glass in P8. Modestas Krasauskas with a great finish in P4 in class. P9 overall. Scott Kostrich with a great recovery in this one. Finishes P10 overall. Joseph Preston in P11, Matthew Jones in P12, James Bostock in P13, followed by Stephen Donnelly in P14 and James Palo in P15. Wesley Van Rens in P16 for Guarana Racing. As we move down the order to Gareth Newton and Graham Matthew in P17 and 18 respectively, and Thiago Reiser, one to forget as we've mentioned, they're in P19, and Raz Harper again, another one to forget for him. He got spun around and down the mountain and never recovered. Dave Clark in P21, Chris Keenan in P22, followed by Philip McConaughey and Sean Clark, who did not finish. Philip McConaughey probably a little bit disappointed with that contact with Thomas. But Thomas came out smelling of roses after that one, and it definitely hurt Cowlishaw as well, who maybe could have finished a couple of positions higher had he not been involved in that incident. But there we have it, another exciting race in Evolution Sim Racing, sorry. Absolute carnage, and we've got 2 drivers ready for their interviews. We've got Rhys Saunders, who we're going to bring in first. He's done it again, win it in the first race, never looked back, and a masterstroke of strategy in the second race to win it again. But is it too little, too late in terms of the championship? There's a lot of work to be done still in the next 2 races, isn't there? You really got to hope for Zilinskas and Mark Thomas to both have absolute howlers.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, if he keeps banking in the P2s like he is, that gap's probably a little bit too little too late. I can look at, moments at Brands, moments at Spa, where it didn't quite drop for me. Not managing to make it to Virginia as well. Those 3 things really hurt me. Silverstone was great. Last week was perfect. This week was perfect. And yeah, it's been really, really good. It was absolute carnage there in race 2. And I just thought, you know what? I need to get out of here. I need to just put some fuel in the car, run it heavy, run it to the end. I knew I could drive 4-5 seconds a lot quicker than what we was doing in the midfield. I was just like, I need to get that clean air.
Yeah, worked an absolute treat for you as well. But again, once more, Zilinskas gets off the line like a bat out of hell. You said that you were trying to practice the starts, but you actually did it in the wrong race, and it was a rolling start, you said in general chat. So talk us through that. You've been practicing starts? What's going wrong for you on these starts?
I just can't quite get it right. I don't have a hand clutch on my wheel, which I'm putting part of it down to, so I've not quite got the control I like on letting it out. But I'm not too worried about it. As long as I can remain quicker than him in the 19 minutes and 45 seconds that isn't the run to turn 1 on the opening lap. Usually I've got the measure of it. Actually in race 2, I got a better start than him, which was nice. It was the first time all season I think it's happened. But yeah, in race 1, he absolutely mugged me at the start. But I knew if I kept the pressure on him, eventually a moment would present itself. And it sure did. Got through into the inside of turn 2, I think it was. And from there, didn't look back.
Double question just to finish this interview off then. First off, with Aramas there in that first race, how surprised were you that he didn't defend the inside when you overtook him? Because it's very difficult to go around the outside in that quarry bend where you did overtake him.
Not the inside, not the outside. Yes, I was surprised he didn't defend the inside. But at the same point, I don't know if it was that point of maybe he just felt like it was inevitable. I was right on his bumper for both laps. I think we ran together, and it was just that point of I don't know if he just thought, yeah, there's not much point. I'm not going to keep him behind for 20 minutes. So I don't know. It'd have been fun to have the fight. He didn't defend. He broke a little early. And yeah, it was a pretty easy one. But anyway, I'm going to take enough of the airwaves up now. I'm going to let you guys speak to Robin because well done to him, by the way. I just want to shout out a cracking result for him in the AMS. And just bad fortune for my teammates tonight, Stephen and Raz. They deserve better. They both put a lot of work in this week getting up to speed.
Yeah, that is the nature of Bathurst. But thank you very much for your time, Reese. And good luck on the rest of the season. I hope it works out for you. But it looks like it's maybe a bridge too far. But enjoy the rest of your evening.
Cheers, gents. Thank you.
So we'll pull in Robin Trustwell. Absolutely fantastic result in the end. A win in the armed category. I think that's your first of the season as well. And you've got to be absolutely delighted with that, Robin.
I am beyond delighted. I was honestly not. I'm still kind of. It's still settling it. It's still kind of. Yeah. It's still. I'm absolutely speechless. I'm sorry. It just means so much to me because, after looking at my results from both Brands Hatch and Silverstone, I knew I was kind of mid-pack, and I saw everyone was saying kind of, in the Discord server that they wanted to be top 10 and stuff, and I was just like, okay, I need to kind of manage my expectations here. So I think this was possibly in race 1, possibly my best result of the year, of the season. Sorry. And then I saw during warm up that I was starting on the front row, and I was a bit shocked and quite terrified because I know there's some really fast drivers behind me. So I was sort of kind of a bit nervous, kind of with them all looming, and then. Yeah, the race was chaotic, and I was just counting down. All right, they're all going to overtake me now. They're all going to overtake me. I'm going to fall back, but it just never happened. And this is one of those leagues where there's a lot of drivers. Like we're getting 30 drivers, so to be first of the AMS is just absolutely astonishing, and I think it really does make up for the 2 weeks whereas away.
Yeah, and obviously I don't want to take anything away from you. Obviously a big part of your result today is the reverse grid, but you held on so well with, like you said, so many fast drivers behind you. Yeah. How did you manage that? I mean, when there was somebody behind you and they were looking for the overtake, did you just let them go and worry about your own race, or was it just a case of
my attitude towards racing? I mean, everyone has that different thing. I have two kind of mottos. First of all, and most importantly, bring it to the end. I mean, I think it was Stephen near the end, Jay Parkinson. He was right up my chuff at the end, and I just repeating in my head, let's bring it home, bring it home, bring it home. And another strategy I use, I know it sounds a little bit strange, but I don't look at my mirror. That's where I start making mistakes, because if I look at the pressure, that's where I'm focusing. If I'm focusing up on the road in front of me, then that's where I'll go. So look in the mirror, you go backwards. Look forward. That's where you go.
No, that's not strange at all. That is actually very good advice for a lot of other drivers who are thinking about how to deal with the pressure from behind. You can't look in the mirror. You've got to focus on where you're putting your car.
I can still see in the mirror. I just kind of, it's in the background almost. It's it's not in the focus of your vision. It's kind of just in the background. So if someone is going to make a move, I can see kind of that brightly coloured blob. And usually if someone is looking at the move, I don't defend it too hard. I know there's pros, so I kind of don't defend too hard. I defend what I can, but main motto is to bring it home. And yeah, I was just the race was so long. It felt like, you know, every lap, oh my gosh, this race is never ending. Okay, I've got to, you know, stay in this position, another lap. And I was a little bit surprised near the end when I came out of the pits and I was a little bit down the order, but you know, the pros, the pros are pros for a reason.
The pros are on a different level, but we're going to wrap it up there. I've got to say, big congratulations once more for that win. Well done. You fully deserved it as well. You were very clean throughout the race as well, and it was close between you and Stefan. But we'll let you go and enjoy the rest of the evening. Get the champagne cork popped and enjoy yourself.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Thank you so much.
So yeah, there we are. Another race done in Evolution Sim Racing, and only 2 more races to go before the end of the season, and it's starting to get spicy as well. Reece Saunders on a charge up the championship, but is it too little, too late? It remains to be seen. But we'll leave you there. Thank you very much for watching and listening to us waffle on. And Biggles is back with us to wrap us up and take us away. But thank you very much. Don't forget to like and subscribe.